tollway billing processes. Our technology is at the heart of an up-and-coming e-service company, Mercurien. CEO Michael Graham says the new service is the Google of the finance world, and Sky News business reporter Lisa Creffield spoke with him a little earlier.
Mercurien is a software as a service business. The technology itself is quite revolutionary in the sense that we're using the fundamental software code of the World Wide Web to process financial transactions. So in the same way that Google processes images and text, we're using that same technology philosophy to process money, and it's quite an exciting time for us.
One of the key applications for your technology is car park payments.
Well, there's the two different business verticals, really. Parking itself is, we're developing a ticketless parking system, which is what we'd call a multi-lane or free-flow system, where we're using high-definition video to take lift essentially a digital signature from a motor vehicle as it enters into a car park. So we're taking colour, license plate number, the mass of the vehicle, etc. And we're storing that in a very small packet of data and searching it as a Google-style process. We then match that same digital signature on the way out of the car park, create the tariff, and the customer pays. So it's a very customer-friendly kind of proposition. It also provides the owner of the asset with a lot of data on how often that car comes in, and then through mobile technology you might be able to bonus that person or send them messages about shopping centre specials that are on that particular day. And in the toll road space, we have a partnership with a Canadian business called Sky Meter, and they're a very accurate, they're the world's most accurate GPS financial grade tag. So in the toll road business, we're using that tag to drive a transactionable event. And that would mean that there's no roadside equipment required. You literally put a navman sized tag in your car and drive around, and there's no need for gantries and there's no need for the replacement beacons, etc. So the end result of that, it's a very low cost, very highly deployable system.
How much will it reduce car park management costs? I mean, how does it work, for example, if some cars are registered with this system but others aren't?
The numbers are on our side. There's a thing called the Pareto principle, otherwise known as the 80-20 rule. Most cars in car parks have been there before, and we are able to keep that digital signature or that digital fingerprint and match it against previous entries and exits. So if there are exceptions, we can make a decision on the spot, on the fly, because the system processes so quickly. But if there's some other system or requirement, then we can build that into the car park deployment as well.
So a car park would still need a barrier system for cars that weren't already registered?
Yes, you may still need barriers, and that really depends on how the car park owner or operator wants to work. I mean, ultimately, we're looking to alleviate the need for barriers and buttons because they slow down the flow of traffic in and out of a car park and cause people frustration when there are large queues. Initially, of course, it might be a requirement that there is a barrier, and there is a barrier either at exit or on entry that enables people to get used to what is a rather new system.
Do you need access to the registration database then to be able to match up cars and owners?
No, not at all. We had discussions with a fairly large shopping centre owner, and what they're interested in doing is using consumer marketing, which is my background, to ask people to opt in for ticket-free parking, and simply a registration via SMS would do the trick.
How will your technology work with tolling systems? What's wrong with current systems?
There's lots right with them, is the first thing I'd say. Typically, the difference is that we have one tolling system which would be able to process an industry's transactions. The current systems are system by system, road by road. So for every new road that's tolled, you need a new system, and the systems are very expensive. The size and scale of the Mercurien platform will allow us to have one engine which basically processes the Sydney Orbital, for example, with one back end, as opposed to 5 or 6 or 7 individual systems. And in doing so, we've taken a network approach to road management rather than a standalone asset approach. And that's a fundamental difference in terms of cost and scale and deployability.
What kind of interest have you had so far?
Oh, lots. One of the things we did decide to do was to raise some capital through the Australian Small Scale Offerings Board, which has been very successful in its early stages. The conversations we're having with people in the toll road business and people in shopping centres has been very positive. We're now at the stage of moving to 2 live trials in the Sydney CBD, I'm very happy to say. And once we've got that moving, we'll be able to demonstrate the system and, of course, show that it works with a lower level of confidence, of course, is high in being able to do that. So we're very encouraged by the interest that's been shown. A telco is a big part of this conversation as well, because the tag that sits in a car and transmits location or tolling data has to go over the GSM mobile network. So there's a great deal of interest from some very substantial players in this space because of the benefits that it gives in terms of cost and deployability and the information that comes out of the system.